Admiral Daeho Kim stood alone on the observation deck of the Terran flagship Indomitable. The vast emptiness of space stretched before him, dotted with distant stars and the faint glow of nearby planets. His gray uniform fit perfectly on his tall frame. The medals on his chest told stories of battles won and lives saved. The door slid open behind him. Commander Jia Lee walked in. Her steps were quick but quiet. Her face showed no emotion, but Daeho knew her well enough to see the anger in her eyes. "They've made their demand official," she said. She handed him a small datapad. "The Council wants an answer in 30 days. Daeho took the pad and read the message again. The words made his stomach turn. To the leadership of the Terran territories, the Galactic Council has determined that human expansion and military development presents an unacceptable risk to galactic stability. You will immediately, 1. Dismantle 50% of all military vessels. 2. Surrender all quantum phase technology. 3. Accept Council supervisors on all Terran worlds. 4. Pay reparations for unauthorized expansion. You have 30 standard days to begin compliance. Failure to do so will result in immediate military action. Signed, High Chancellor Volrek. Supreme Council of Galactic Civilization." Daeho placed the pad on the railing in front of him. "How did the President take it?" "He's called an emergency meeting of Parliament. It starts in 2 hours. Jia moved to stand beside him. "What are they so afraid of? We've never threatened them." "We exist," Daeho said simply, "and we grow stronger every day." He turned to face the large display screen on the wall and touched a button. A map of known space appeared. The 17 council races controlled most of the galaxy. Human territory was small in comparison, Earth and 38 colony worlds. "For 300 years they've ruled without challenge," Daeho said. "Then we showed up. We built in decades what took them centuries." Jia nodded. "The quantum phase drive." "Yes. Our ships can now travel faster than theirs. Our shields can withstand their weapons." Daeho zoomed in on the border areas. Red dots showed Council warships. There were hundreds of them. "They've been building this fleet for months. The ultimatum is just for show. They plan to attack us all along," Jia said. "Yes, they want our technology. They want our resources. But most of all, they want us to know our place." Daeho's voice was calm, but his hands tightened into fists. The ship's computer chimed. "Admiral, incoming transmission from Earth. President Han requests your presence at the emergency session." "Put him through," Daeho ordered. The screen changed to show an elderly man with white hair and kind eyes. Despite being almost 80 years old, President Han Tae-il stood straight and proud. "Admiral Kim," the president said with a nod. "Commander Lee, I trust you've reviewed the Council's message." "We have, sir," Daeho replied. "It's not really an ultimatum. It's a declaration of war dressed up as diplomacy." President Han sighed. "I agree. For 50 years I've tried to build bridges with the Council. I believed that in time they would accept us as equals." He shook his head. "I was wrong." "What will you tell Parliament?" Jia asked. "The truth. That we face the greatest threat in human history." The president's expression hardened. "And that we will not surrender." "Sir," Daeho said carefully, "their fleet outnumbers ours 5-1. A small smile appeared on President Han's face. "Numbers aren't everything, Admiral. How long would it take to activate Project Sentinel?" Daeho and Jia exchanged surprised looks. Project Sentinel was humanity's best-kept secret, a fleet of advanced warships hidden throughout the solar system, built over the last 10 years. 3 days to full combat readiness," Daeho answered. "But even with those ships, we'd still be outnumbered. Quality over quantity, Admiral." President Han looked down at something off-screen. "I must prepare for the session. Join me via secure link in 2 hours." The screen went dark. Jia turned to Daeho. "He's really going to fight." "Always knew this day might come," Daeho said. "The Council has never treated any new species as an equal. They only understand power." 2 hours later, Daeho and Jia watched from the Indomitable as President Han addressed the United Earth Parliament. Representatives from all Terran worlds were present either in person or by hologram. President Han stood at the center of the great circular chamber. His voice was strong and clear. For centuries, humanity dreamed of finding others among the stars, he began. When we finally did, we extended our hands in friendship, only to be treated as lesser beings. The chamber was completely silent. For 50 years, we have faced trade restrictions, technology embargoes, and territorial limitations. We accepted these unfair terms for the sake of peace. Today, they demand our surrender. The president paused. They have misunderstood something fundamental about humanity. He looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of the representatives. We do not bow to threats, he continued. Throughout our history, whenever tyrants have tried to crush us, we have fought back. We have tried peace. We have tried diplomacy. We have even accepted unfair terms for the sake of harmony. But we will not sacrifice our sovereignty or our future. President Han's voice grew stronger. I call now for a vote. Do we comply with the Council's demands? Or do we stand firm and defend what is ours? The vote was quick and unanimous. Every representative stood, one by one, and spoke the same word. Defend. Daeho felt a surge of pride. Humanity was united. After the session ended, President Han spoke privately with Daeho and his top military leaders. Admiral Kim, you have command of our combined forces, the president said. The Council expects us to beg for mercy or prepare for a defensive war. They don't expect us to strike first. Daeho nodded. We've prepared for this possibility, sir. Operation First Light is ready. Explain it to me again, the president requested. Daeho brought up a tactical display. The Council believes they know all our military capabilities. They don't. Project Sentinel has produced 500 ships with advanced stealth systems. They can pass through Council sensor nets undetected. He highlighted several key points on the display. These are the Council's main shipyards and command centers. If we strike here, here, and here, we can cripple their ability to wage war before they even realize we're fighting back. President Han studied the plan carefully. Casualties? Minimal, Jia said. We target their military infrastructure, not population centers. Our goal is to show strength, not to massacre civilians. Very well, President Han said after a long moment. You have my authorization. Begin Operation First Light. As Daeho and Jia returned to the Indomitable, they looked out at Earth, beautiful, and blue against the blackness of space. Everything changes now, Jia said quietly. Daeho nodded. The Council thinks they're dealing with a young, weak species that will tremble at their ultimatum. His eyes narrowed. They're about to learn why, throughout our history, even the fiercest predators learned to fear humans. Across the Terran worlds, preparations began. Ships moved into position. Soldiers said goodbye to their families. Engineers worked around the clock to ready weapons and shields. The Council had made their move. Now humanity would make theirs, and the galaxy would never be the same. Captain Mina Song sat in the command chair of the stealth ship Shadow. Around her, her crew worked in near silence. The only sounds were the soft beeps of computers and the low hum of the engines. The ship's lights were dim, set to battle mode. Status. Report, Mina said quietly. Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Do-won Park, checked his screens. All systems green. Stealth field at maximum. The Council sensor net has not detected us. Mina nodded. This was the moment they had trained for. 500 Terran stealth ships were now in position throughout Council space. Each had a specific target. The Shadow and its sister ships would strike the main shipyards at Velan Prime. Time to mission start? Mina asked. 3 minutes, Captain, Do-won replied. All ships report ready. Mina opened a secure channel to all Terran vessels. This is Captain Song. Remember your training. We are not here to kill. We are here to disable their ability to make war. Target propulsion systems, weapons platforms, and command centers. Avoid casualties when possible. She paused, looking at the massive shipyards floating before them. Hundreds of Council warships were docked there. Ships that would soon attack human worlds if Operation First Light failed. 2 minutes to mission start, Do-won announced. Mina thought about Earth, about her family and new soul, her parents, her little brother. She was fighting for them and for all humans who just wanted to live in peace. 1 minute. The Council had never expected this. In their arrogance, they believed humans would either surrender or prepare for a defensive war. They never imagined humans would strike first, and they certainly didn't know about the stealth technology that made Terran ships invisible to their sensors. 30 seconds. Mina gripped the arms of her chair. Weapon status? Precision strike missiles armed, her weapons officer reported. Targeting systems locked on primary objectives. 10 seconds. The bridge crew counted down silently. Execute, Mina ordered as the counter reached 0. Across Council space, 500 Terran ships opened fire simultaneously. At Velan Prime, the Shadow and its battle group launched their first volley of missiles. The Council shipyards had no warning. The missiles struck with perfect accuracy. Propulsion systems failed. Weapon platforms went dark. Command centers lost power. The mighty Council fleet sat helpless, unable to move or fight back. Second volley, Mina ordered. Target their communications arrays. More missiles flew from the Terran ships. Communication dishes exploded. Transmission towers collapsed. The Council ships were now blind and mute as well as paralyzed. Third volley, Mina said. Target their defensive shields. When the third wave of missiles hit, the shipyards lost all protection. Every Council ship was now completely vulnerable. Mina opened a channel to the main control station of Velan Prime. The face of Admiral Zrelk, a tall, blue-skinned alien with 4 eyes, appeared on her screen. His upper eyes blinked in confusion, while his lower eyes narrowed in anger. "This is Captain Mina Song of the Terran Navy," she said calmly. "Your shipyards are disabled. Your fleet is helpless. We could destroy everything here, but we choose not to." "How?" Admiral Zrelk sputtered. "How did you penetrate our defenses?" "That's not important right now," Mina replied. "What matters is what happens next. We have similar strikes occurring at every major Council military installation. You have lost your ability to wage war against us." Zrelk's blue skin darkened with rage. "This is an act of war. The Council will destroy your species for this." Mina's expression didn't change. "No, Admiral. This is our response to your act of war. The ultimatum your Council sent was the first shot. We are simply defending ourselves." She leaned forward. "Here is our message to the Council. The ultimatum is rejected. Any attack on Terran space will be met with overwhelming force. We do not want war, but we will not surrender our freedom." Across Council space, the same scene played out. Council, military bases fell one after another, not destroyed but disabled. And each time, the same message was delivered. At the Council's headquarters on the planet Eridani III, emergency alarms blared throughout the great dome of the Council chamber. High Chancellor Volrek, a tall, thin alien with gray skin and long fingers, watched in horror as reports flooded in. "Impossible," he whispered as the display showed red alerts across the galaxy. How could they do this? His chief of intelligence, a small reptilian creature named Sisk, trembled as he delivered the news. "The humans have some kind of stealth technology. Our sensors never detected their ships. They have disabled 80% of our military capability in less than 6 hours. Volrek slammed his long-fingered hand on the table. "What about our trading stations? Our supply lines?" Sisk looked down. "We have lost contact with 15 key trading hubs. Reports suggest human special forces have taken control of them." In the Council chamber, representatives from the 17 member species shouted over each other. Some demanded immediate retaliation. Others called for peace talks. A few blamed Volrek for underestimating the humans. On the trading station Omega-7, the most important commerce hub in the galaxy, Colonel Jin Park led his team through the corridors, with quiet efficiency. Unlike the military strikes, this mission required special forces on the ground. Jin and his 50 soldiers wore light combat armor and carried stun weapons. They moved quickly but carefully through the station. "Remember," Jin told his team, Minimum force. These are civilians and merchants. We secure the station, not harm its people. The Council security forces were no match for the highly trained humans. Within an hour, Jin's team controlled the entire station. The Council guards were locked in their barracks, unharmed, but unable to interfere. Jin stood in the main control room and addressed the station's population through the communication system. "People of Omega-7," he said, his voice calm and firm. "This station is now under Terran protection. All regular business may continue. All ships may dock and trade as normal. The only change is that Council military vessels are no longer welcome here." He paused to let his words sink in. "We have no quarrel with any civilian, merchant, or traveler. This is not an occupation. It is a change in management. When the current conflict is resolved, we will discuss the future governance of this station, with representatives of all species who live and work here." The same message went out from all 15 trading stations now under human control. The effect was immediate. The Council's economy, dependent on these key hubs, ground to a halt. Back on Earth, President Han met with his advisors. Admiral Dae-ho Kim reported the success of Operation First Light. "All targets secured, Mr. President," Dae-ho said with pride. "Minimum casualties, maximum impact." President Han nodded. "And now we wait for their response." "They have called an emergency council session," Commander Jia Li reported. "Our ambassador Su-Jin Kang will attend." "Good," President Han said. "It's time they understand who they're dealing with." In the Great Council chamber on Eridani III, Ambassador Su-Jin Kang stood alone before the representatives of 17 alien species. Her head was high, her posture perfect. She showed no fear despite being surrounded by enemies. The Zeldari representative, a mantis-like creature, hissed in anger. "How dare you attack Council facilities? How could primitive humans penetrate our best defenses?" Su-Jin waited for the angry shouts to die down. Then she spoke, her voice clear and strong. "You mistake technological advancement for civilization," she said. "Humanity spent thousands of years fighting itself before reaching the stars. We perfected warfare in ways you cannot imagine. We prayed we'd never need these skills again. But we never forgot them." She looked around the chamber. "You sent us an ultimatum. We gave you our answer. Now we are prepared to discuss peace, but as equals, not as servants." The council chamber fell silent. The age of council dominance was over. A new era had begun. Dr. Hyun-woo Park sat in his office at the Terran Intelligence Headquarters on Earth. Screens covered the walls, showing news feeds from across the galaxy. For years, he had studied the alien species of the Galactic Council. He knew their histories, their cultures, and most importantly, their conflicts. The Council is not as united as they want everyone to believe, Hyun-woo explained to Admiral Dae-ho Kim, who had just arrived for a briefing. They maintain power through fear and manipulation. Dae-ho looked at the main screen, which showed a map of Council space. "Explain." Hyun-woo touched a button, and the map changed to show different colors for each Council species. There are 17 member species, but only 5 of them hold real power. The others stay in the Council because they fear what would happen if they left. "Which ones are most unhappy?" Dae-ho asked. "The Mendari, for one." Hyun-woo highlighted a cluster of planets. Their homeworld was damaged by a natural disaster 300 years ago. They've been asking for terraforming technology to repair it, but the Council refuses. Why? Because a healthy Mendari civilization might challenge Council leadership. Hyun-woo moved to another part of the map. The Pridacon and Selphic republics are also treated poorly. They face technology restrictions similar to what the Council tried to impose on us. Dae-ho nodded slowly. "So we have potential allies." "More than that," Hyun-woo said with a small smile. "We've been building relationships with these species for years. Now is the time to use those connections." On the Mendari homeworld, Prime Minister Elarath stood before the Council representative. Her blue skin almost glowed under the dim light of the ancient meeting hall. Like all Mendari, she had forearms and large, sad eyes. "The Council demands your support in the conflict with the humans," the representative said. "You will provide ships and soldiers as required by treaty." Elarath's eyes narrowed. For 6 generations, we have asked for help to restore our dying world. For 6 generations, you have denied us. That is not relevant to the current. It is completely relevant, Elarath interrupted. Yesterday, I received a message from the humans. They offered us terraforming technology. No conditions, no demands, just friendship. The representative's face showed shock. You cannot trust humans. They are dangerous. Yes, they are dangerous, Elarath agreed. They are dangerous to those who threaten them. But to those who treat them with respect, they offer help and friendship. She stood taller. The Mendari people have made their decision. We are leaving the council. Similar scenes played out across the galaxy. One by one, the lesser members of the council began to break away. The Pridicon, a species of intelligent plant beings, announced their withdrawal from the council. The Selphic Republics, a collection of water worlds, followed soon after. High Chancellor Volrek called an emergency session of the council. Only 12 representatives now sat in the Great Chamber designed for 17. This is outrageous, Volrek shouted. The humans are turning our own members against us. The Zeldari representative, General Kraz, pounded his fist on the table. We should strike now. Destroy their homeworld before more damage is done. With what fleet? Asked another representative calmly. Our shipyards are disabled. Our trading stations are under human control. Half our members have abandoned us. We still have allies, Volrek insisted. We can rebuild. Ambassador Su-Jin entered the chamber. She had requested a chance to speak, and despite many objections, the council had agreed. People of the council, she began, I come with an offer of peace. Peace? Kraz spat the word. After your unprovoked attack? After our response to your ultimatum, Su-Jin corrected. We did not start this conflict, but we are willing to end it. She activated a hologram in the center of the chamber. It showed a new map of the galaxy. This is our proposal, she explained. A new alliance, not a council that rules through fear, but a cooperative that governs through mutual respect. The map showed territories for each species with trade routes connecting them all. No technology restrictions, no military limitations. Each species governs itself, and all major decisions affecting the galaxy are made by consensus. Su-Jin looked around the chamber. This is what humanity has always wanted, not conquest, but cooperation. The council members whispered among themselves. Some seemed interested. Others, like Kraz, looked angry. Meanwhile, on a small moon in neutral space, Sunmi Cho met with representatives from the species that had left the council. Sunmi was the head of Terran diplomacy, known for her brilliant mind and warm personality. The humans destroyed our military, exclaimed a Pridicon elder, his leafy body rustling with emotion. How can we trust them? We disabled your military, Sunmi corrected gently. We took no lives when we could avoid it. We could have destroyed everything, but we chose not to. Why? Asked a Selphic leader, her voice bubbling through the translator. Because we don't want to rule, Sunmi explained. We want to live in peace. The council tried to force us to submit, we refused, but we don't want to become like them. She showed them the same plan that Su-Jin was presenting to the council. This is our vision for the future. A cooperative, not an empire. And if some species refuse to join? Asked the Mendari representative. Then they don't join, Sunmi said simply. We will not force anyone. That's the difference between us and the council. Back in the council chamber, the debate continued. Kraz and his allies argued for war. Others pushed for compromise. The humans have proven their military strength, said one representative. If we continue this conflict, we will lose. So we surrender? Kraz hissed. We adapt, replied another. The galaxy is changing. We must change with it. On Earth, President Han met with his advisors to discuss the latest developments. 7. Former council species have expressed interest in joining our cooperative, Admiral Kim reported. The Mendari, Pridicon, and Selphic have already signed preliminary agreements. And the council itself? President Han asked. Divided, Commander Jia Li answered. Some want peace. Others still think they can defeat us. They can't, Dr. Hyunwoo said confidently. Our intelligence shows they've lost too much support. Their power structure is collapsing. President Han nodded slowly. Then we continue our current strategy. Offer friendship to those who accept it. Show strength to those who don't. In the weeks that followed, more species left the council. Some joined the new cooperative. Others declared neutrality. The council, once the unchallenged power in the galaxy, shrank to just 5 species. General Kraz and a few hardliners attempted a desperate attack on a human colony world. Their small fleet was quickly defeated by Terran defenses. No human lives were lost. In response, humanity did not seek revenge. Instead, they offered medical care to the injured Zeldari soldiers and sent them home. I don't understand, a captured Zeldari officer said to the human doctor treating him. Why help us? We tried to kill you. The doctor smiled as she bandaged his wound. Because that's who we are. We fight when we must, but we help when we can. Word of this mercy spread throughout the galaxy. More species began to see humans not as conquerors but as protectors, not as enemies but as potential friends. 3 months after the Council's ultimatum, the galaxy had transformed. The old power structure was gone. In its place, a new alliance was growing, one based on mutual respect and cooperation. Ambassador, Sujin met with the remaining council leaders, now humbled by their losses. The door remains open, she told them. You can join us as equals. The choice is yours. High Chancellor Volrek, once proud and arrogant, looked tired and old. We underestimated humanity, he admitted. We saw your technological progress and assumed you would be like us, seeking dominance, using power to control others. That is not our way, Sujin replied. We learned through our own bloody history that dominance leads only to resistance, and control only to rebellion. True strength comes from unity, not from force. As she left the chamber, Sujin knew that a new era had begun. The stars were no longer divided by fear and suspicion. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy faced a future of hope and possibility, and humanity, once dismissed as a young, primitive species, now stood at the center of this new age, not as conquerors, but as leaders showing the way forward. 100 days after the Council's ultimatum, leaders from 22 spacefaring civilizations gathered on the planet Eridani III. Once the proud capital of the Galactic Council, it now hosted the founding ceremony of the Interstellar Cooperative. Admiral Dae-ho Kim walked through the Grand Hall where the old council had once issued commands to the galaxy. Now the room was transformed. The raised platform where council leaders had sat above everyone else was gone. In its place was a circular table where all representatives would sit as equals. Quite a change, said a familiar voice behind him. Dae-ho turned to see General Eugene Bae, commander of Terran ground forces and his oldest friend. Eugene had led the security teams that now protected this historic meeting. Did you ever imagine we'd be here? Eugene asked, looking around the hall. Not like this, Dae-ho admitted. I hoped for peaceful integration, but the council never saw us as equals. Perhaps this was inevitable, Eugene said thoughtfully. History suggests that empires fall not because of outside enemies, but because they refuse to change, Dae-ho nodded. And now we must be careful not to repeat their mistakes. The ceremony began at noon. Representatives from all 22 species took their places around the great table. Some were former council members. Others were independent worlds that had stayed neutral during the conflict. All had chosen to join the new cooperative. President Han appeared via hologram from Earth. Though he wanted to attend in person, his health had worsened in recent weeks. Still, his voice was strong as he addressed the gathering. Today marks not a victory of weapons, but a victory of principles, he said. The stars belong to no single species. The universe's gifts are for all who explore it with respect and wonder. He looked around at the assembled delegates. For too long, the galaxy lived under the shadow of fear. The council ruled by threat and force. They saw difference as danger and strength as something to be controlled. The hologram of President Han seemed to grow brighter, The cooperative offers a new path. We will share knowledge, not hoard it. We will respect boundaries, not cross them. We will defend the weak, not exploit them. One by one, the representatives signed the cooperative charter. Each spoke briefly about their hopes for the future. The Mendari Prime Minister Elarath was first to sign. For 6 generations, my people lived with the pain of a dying homeworld. The Council denied us the technology to heal it. Humanity offered that technology freely. She looked directly at the Terran representatives. Today, for the first time, in 300 years, new forests grow on Mendar. Our children will know the touch of fresh grass under their feet. The Predacon elder Thola signed next. We joined the Council centuries ago seeking protection. What we found was another form of danger. In the cooperative, we seek true safety, the safety that comes from friendship, not fear. As the ceremony continued, Deho noticed a tall figure watching from the back of the hall. It was Volrek, the former High Chancellor of the Council. He had come as an observer. His face showed no emotion, but his presence spoke volumes. The old order was bearing witness to the birth of the new. When all signatures were complete, Ambassador Sujin Kang addressed the gathering. Today we begin a journey together. It will not always be easy. We come from different worlds. We have different needs and beliefs. There will be disagreements and challenges. She smiled. But we face them as friends, not as rulers and subjects. That makes all the difference. After the ceremony, Sujin approached Volrek. He seemed smaller somehow, less imposing than when he had sent the ultimatum that started everything. Your ultimatum united humanity as nothing else could have, she told him. For that, perhaps we should thank you. Volrek's facial membranes flickered in what might have been resignation. We feared what humans might become, he admitted. It seems our fears were justified, though not in the way we imagined. What did you imagine? Sujin asked. That you would conquer us as we would have conquered you. Volrek looked around the hall. Instead, you defeated us by offering a better way. In the months that followed, the galaxy transformed. The remaining council members, seeing the success of the cooperative, eventually requested to join. After careful deliberation, they were accepted, not as leaders but as equals. The free exchange of ideas and technology sparked progress across thousands of worlds. The Predacon, using human agricultural methods, ended centuries of food shortages. The Selphic, combining their water engineering with Terran quantum theory, developed new energy sources that worked in harmony with their ocean environments. Even the Zeldari, once the most aggressive council enforcers, found a place in the new order. Their military skills were redirected toward a cooperative defense force that protected trade routes and answered distress calls from any world in need. 1 year after the formation of the cooperative, Admiral Daeho Kim stood on the observation deck of the Indomitable, just as he had when the Council's ultimatum arrived. This time, Commander Jia Li brought different news. The last of the quantum phase drives has been installed in the Mendari medical fleet, she reported. They can now reach their outer colonies with supplies in days instead of months. Daeho nodded with satisfaction. And the new defense grid? Operational around all member worlds, Jia said. No single species could overcome it, but together we can maintain it. Good. Daeho looked out at the stars. The Council believed power meant controlling others. We know it really means empowering others. On Earth, in the gardens of the presidential palace, Dr. Hyun-woo Park met with Sun Mi-cho to plan the next diplomatic mission. 3 more independent worlds have requested membership, Sun Mi said, showing him the data. And the Zeldari have proposed opening their officer training program to all cooperative species. Hyun-woo smiled. Who would have thought that the fierce Zeldari would become our partners in maintaining peace? People change when given the chance, Sun Mi replied. Species too. In a school on one of Earth's colony worlds, a human teacher stood before a class of children. Behind her, a large screen showed a map of cooperative space, much larger now than the old council territory had been. Before we met other species, the teacher explained, many humans feared what might happen. Some thought aliens would try to conquer us. Others worried we might become the conquerors. A child raised her hand. What happened instead? The teacher smiled. We found our place in the galaxy, not as rulers or servants, but as builders of bridges between worlds. She pointed to the stars on the map. Our strength was never in our weapons or technology. It was in our ability to learn from our mistakes, to see beyond differences, and to imagine a better future for everyone. Across the galaxy, billions of beings from dozens of species looked up at the same stars. For the first time in living memory, they did so not with fear of what might come from the darkness, but with hope for what they might build together in the light. The Council's ultimatum had indeed backfired, but the result was not a Terran empire of conquest. Instead, it was something far more powerful, a cooperative of mutual respect that would reshape galactic civilization for millennia to come. And if new challenges arose, as they surely would, they would face them together, not as masters and servants, but as equals united by common purpose and shared dreams.